Welcome to Cinepro, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. The series begins with a young man named Rio Hai who is playing PlayStation in his room. He is a professional online gamer but remains detached from real life, having lived his whole life in a gaming environment. One day, his brother enters and yells at him for not attending a job interview, despite their father having arranged it for him, mentioning that it was a family business, and that Ryohei was different when their mother was alive. Ryohei responds that he is living his life and leaves the house. On his way out, he sees his father looking at him with disdain and sends a message home. He then messages his friend Karubi, who works in a bar and is flirting with the manager's girlfriend. His manager enters, hits him, and tells him to stay away from the manager's girlfriend. But Karubi retaliates and quits his job. Ryohei then sends a message to his other friend Shita, who is withdrawing money to give to his mother, saying it will be the last time. It appears that his mother is exploiting him, and Shita cannot refuse her requests. Ryohei ends up homeless. Karubi is without a job, and even Shita is avoiding his work. The three friends meet and talk about their miserable lives. Ryohei wishes to go somewhere far away one day because he is tired of where he lives. They imagine that the residents of their city turn into zombies, and Karubi says that Ryohei would be the best at surviving because he is skilled at games and smart. He advises Ryohei to stop wasting time with him and Shita and to start living a real life instead of gaming. The three continue to play and run together amidst traffic, ignoring traffic signals until two cars collide, and they run from the police, hiding in a subway station. They find more police there, so they go to a public restroom in the station and hide together in the same stall, laughing about what happened. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door, and the lights go out. When they open the door, they find that everyone in the station has disappeared, including people in the city. They are puzzled and do not understand what is happening, as there is no one in public places, establishments, or restaurants. They find a restaurant with steam rising from food on a table, indicating that people have suddenly vanished without explanation. The group splits up to look for anyone, then reconvenes when they find no one. They notice that the mobile network is down. Ryohei is happy about what is happening, feeling it will make his life more exciting and thrilling. Despite the power being out everywhere, suddenly a building lights up brightly, displaying a screen that says the game will start in moments. The group sees a red light coming from afar, goes to check it out, and discovers it is a building marked Game Manager. They enter and follow the directions, reaching a hallway where a note says one for each person. They pass through lasers without noticing and find many mobile phones. Each member of the group takes one. The phones capture their faces, and a message appears saying the last registration time is 2 minutes. Suddenly, a girl named Suri appears, and the group is surprised to see someone else. Suri passes through the lasers, takes Shita's card, and throws it on the ground outside the path, where it burns. It turns out anyone can enter through the lasers, but anyone who exits will be burned. Suri tells them there is no way out and that they must play the game. Suddenly, another young girl arrives, relieved to see the group, happy that there are other people alive. She enters through the lasers, takes a phone from Suri, and as time passes, the 2 minutes run out. A voice from the phones announces that the game has started, and it is called Life or Death. The difficulty level is unclear, and the voice states that each person must choose the correct door within the time limit, and that everyone must exit the building they are in during the game time. The elevator door opens, and the game begins. The group of 5 enters the elevator, which rises, and they have 2 minutes. They find themselves in a room with a door marked Life and another marked Death. Shita is excited, treating the situation as a fun game, filming everything with his phone. The group discusses which door to choose, and suddenly gas starts to leak from the ground, forcing them to choose quickly, or they will suffocate and die. The young girl runs through the Life door out of fear and gets shot in the head, dying. The group exits through the Death door at the last moment, and the room they were in ignites. They enter another room, and a countdown of 2 minutes begins. The group struggles to decide whether to choose the Death door again or the Life door. Suri realizes that the game is about sacrifice and that each person must open a door themselves and die. The solution is the other door for the rest of the group. Shita is scared and keeps backing away, and with 1 minute left, the gas continues to pour from the ground. Ryohei risks his life and goes to open the Death door but hesitates. With 10 seconds remaining, Karubi takes the risk and opens the life door, and fortunately, it is the correct door. The group exits just in time and enters another room where the countdown begins again. Karubi decides it is Suri's turn to choose a door, but she is terrified. Karubi asks Ryohei what he is thinking since Ryohei is smart at puzzle games. Ryohei is scared and says this game is based on luck. He breaks down and yells at Karubi, saying he cannot solve everything with violence. They fight Karubi, which snaps Ryohei out of his state, and he remembers something he saw outside the building. He decides to choose the death door, and the group passes through it as the countdown for the new challenge begins. Ryohei tells them he saw the manager's car outside, number 523D, which is 4 meters and 94 centimeters long, and that the building they are in is 4 times the length of the car, approximately 20 meters. He calculates the room's length to be about 6 meters. When he saw the building's map, he realized the elevator was situated in the building, which is square-shaped like the room they are in. This means the building has 3 rows, each with 3 rooms. He sketches how they moved and deduces that the exit door is the death door, leading them to exit through it. The group is impressed by Ryohei's intelligence, and he convinces them that the game is not a game of luck, and they manage to escape. The door of death, followed by the door of life, until they reach the 2 doors, which are in opposite directions. Ryohei recalls the building's layout and asks Shota to show him the photo he took with his phone. He notices that the door the little girl opened didn't have any actual doors. He realizes that the room is not square-shaped, and also discovers that there is a room behind the door of life in the room they are in. The group enters the door of life at the last second, and flames catch onto Shota. Karubi extinguishes the fire and tells Ryohei that the exit door is death. The group exits the room and goes down the stairs. A voice from the phone congratulates them for surviving and escaping alive. Shota's leg is burned, and he is in pain. Sori finds a piece of paper on the table. The phones activate, and each participant receives a visa and 3 points. No one understands what it means. Suddenly, they see an injured older man who says he will withdraw from the game because it has no end. He mentions that his visa expires today, and he knows this is his end. He gets shot in the head and dies. The building's electricity cuts off, and they realize that a person dies when their visa points run out. To maintain their points, they must play the games and solve the difficult puzzles. Ryohei looks up at the sky, seeing several laser beams descending from the heavens to the earth. A mysterious girl appears, and she recalls her father saving her from death when she was climbing mountains. She vows to survive the game and stay alive, holding a playing card in her hand. The next day, Ryohei gets into a car and discovers that it, like all other cars, is not functioning. The group realizes that anything dependent on electronic chips is disabled, and that only old devices work. Shota speculates that someone might have detonated an electromagnetic bomb that disrupted the electronics. Ryohei's phone battery dies, leaving him unsure of how to charge it. Karubi and Sori are in a supermarket, gathering sharp tools and food for emergencies. The group eats together, and Sori tells them how she appeared in these mysterious circumstances. She says she was in a work meeting when everyone suddenly disappeared. However, she is lying. The truth is that she was in someone's apartment and in the bathroom, and when she came out, everyone was gone. She says this happened 3 days ago, and that she's been using people as bait to solve puzzles and stay alive. The group wonders how Sori has been here for 3 days when they have only been here for 1. They realize there is a game master orchestrating everything and suspect they might have electronic chips implanted in their bodies to track their locations. Sori mentions hearing about a European development company wanting to conduct experiments using virtual reality to create a virtual world identical to the real one. She suggests they might be behind what's happening. Shota, suffering from burns on his leg, insists this cannot be virtual and must be real. Karubi talks to Ryohei, saying the 2 of them will use their available time to adapt to the game's system and puzzles. This is so they can help Shota, who is injured, solve puzzles without putting his life at risk. Ryohei recalls that they might be able to identify other participants in the game using the phone that holds players' data. They hope one of them might be a doctor who can treat Shota's burned leg. At night, the mysterious girl appears and joins a game with a group of people, including new players and experienced ones who understand the game's mechanics. Ryohei and Karubi participate in the game and take phones from the ones at the building's entrance. There, they see someone charging an old music player using the building's electricity. The number of participants is 13, and the game's difficulty is determined by playing cards. A man explains that this game will rely on physical challenges and that each card suit represents a type of game. For example, Clubs involve teamwork, spades involve competition between opponents, and hearts involve betrayal for victory. The higher the card number, the harder the game. A voice from the phone announces that the game is a survival challenge. Each group must escape from a designated pursuer and find a safe zone hidden in one of the rooms within the building. The game's time limit is 20 minutes, and the safe zone will protect those inside from a bomb explosion in the building. Each participant heads to their designated location, and the game begins. Ryohei's group hears gunfire and sees the body of someone who has been killed. They spot the pursuer, armed with a machine gun and wearing a horse-shaped mask, who also fires at them. They flee to the stairs, and Ryohei hides with Karube. Meanwhile, Sori and Shota are alone in the house, and Sori starts to develop feelings for him. She tells him the truth about how she ended up in the world they are currently in. In the building, a participant tries to escape through the corridor but is caught by the masked pursuer, who shoots and kills him. Another participant, terrified, steps outside the building's boundaries, crossing a laser, and dies instantly. The masked pursuer continues killing the remaining participants. Ryohei notices that the pursuer only targets people directly in front of him and doesn't see anyone beside him. Ryohei shouts this observation to the other participants. The mysterious girl informs them of the pursuer's location so they can avoid him. When she spots him, she jumps from the corridor's railing and climbs a pipe to the floor above. With 8 minutes remaining, 7 out of the 13 participants are still alive. Ryohei sees a participant hiding from the pursuer, who is shooting at him from a distance. Ryohei helps him, bringing him to safety as the participant is paralyzed with fear. Karube, armed with a knife, plans to kill the pursuer and shows no fear. Ryohei and Karube team up with 2 other participants. The mysterious girl joins them and shares the information she has deduced. Ryohei and the girl try to open doors to locate the safe zone before the explosion. A participant tells Karube they will use the time when the pursuer is reloading his weapon to attack him. They sacrifice one of the participants, who is shot and killed by the pursuer. As the pursuer reloads, Karube attacks him, not giving him a chance, and stabs him in the back with the knife. However, the pursuer, armed with a sword, injures Karube, slashing his side. Ryohei thinks about a way to solve the puzzle and find the safe zone. He remembers when the masked man was shooting from a distance at the scared participant, and Ryohei helped him when he was in front of a certain door. Ryohei goes to the same door, opens it, and finds the participant charging the music player. Suddenly, another masked man appears and shocks the participant with the music player, which turns out to have been modified into an electric device. The masked man regains consciousness and starts shooting randomly. Ryohei escapes and opens another door in the room, which leads him to another space with 2 buttons that require 2 participants to press them simultaneously. Ryohei shouts loudly, informing the participants of the safe zone's number. The participant fighting the first masked man gets injured on his face, but continues the struggle until he finally kills the masked man. With only 1 minute left, the second masked man enters the room where Ryohei is, aiming his weapon at him. Ryohei resists, and the girl takes the shock device from the participant and uses it to shock the second masked man. At the last moment, Ryohei and the girl press the 2 buttons simultaneously, disabling the bomb. The game ends, and the masked man on the ground is revealed to be a woman wearing a collar bomb, which explodes, killing her. Karube discovers that the masked individuals were participants tasked with killing others to survive, but they failed and died. Karube finds a wireless device on one of the participants' bodies and hears someone speaking through it. A voice responds, telling him to return to the beach. Karube doesn't understand the message, and Ryohei is shocked, feeling guilty for killing the masked participant. The girl reassures him, saying it wasn't his fault and that the game forced them into it. She seems somewhat pleased with the sadistic world they are in, realizing she can do anything to survive and fight for her life. A participant finds a piece of paper with scribbles on the masked woman's body but doesn't understand its purpose. The last day of Sori's visa approaches, and she must participate in a game to avoid death. Ryohei and Karube return from the game, and Shota is relieved they are safe. Sori tends to Karube's wounds, who tells them about the beach mentioned in the wireless communication and that they need to head to the nearest beach in the city. However, Shota is still injured and unable to walk due to burns. Sori mentions that her and Shota's visas will expire that day. Karube assures her that he and Ryohei will help them succeed in their game today, and then they will all head to the beach together. Ryohei reflects on the girl's words about her struggle to survive in the game. Sori steps onto the balcony to smoke a cigarette and talks with Ryohei. He He tells her about the last game and his decision to do whatever it takes to survive. Sori admits she shares his perspective on survival. Karube visits the bar where he used to work and retrieves a wedding ring, thinking about his manager, whom he loves and wants to propose to if he survives the game. At night, the group waits for Karube to join them for the next game. Shota is uncertain about his ability to succeed in the game and is scared. The group heads to the game site, which is in a large area with trees. They find tools and equipment on a table, including weapons and 4 digital glasses with headphones. They receive mobile phones and put on the headphones, following the directions on the signs. The game's difficulty level is 7 hearts, which worries Ryohei and Karube because they know it will be a betrayal game. The game is a version of hide and seek. One of them will be the wolf, and the others will be sheep. Whoever the wolf encounters becomes a wolf as well. The objective is to hide from the wolf, and the last wolf at the end of the time limit will be the winner. The game lasts 15 minutes, and any sheep wearing a collar bomb will have the bomb explode at the end. This means only one of the 4 will survive, and the rest will die. Shota becomes the wolf, and the game begins. Shota panics and tries to remove the collar from his neck, but Ryohei stops him, warning that the collar might explode. When Shota looks at him, Ryohei becomes the wolf. Ryohei looks at Karube, making Karube the wolf. Sori understands the game and makes them look at her, becoming the wolf herself. She runs away to survive. It turns out the wolf must escape from the sheep to survive. Karube chases her through the trees. Sori hides and talks to Shota through the headphones as he cries, asking her to return so they can find a way for everyone to survive. Sori apologizes and falls while running, and Karube spots her. He tries to make her look at him to become the wolf, but she picks up a rock and hits him on his wound. Unintentionally, she looks at him, making Karube the wolf. He tries to escape, but Sori keeps hitting him on his wound until Ryohei calls out to Karube, making him look at Ryohei, who becomes the wolf and runs away. With 10 minutes left, Ryohei tells the group to give him time to think of a solution to save them all, but they don't trust him. Sori attacks him, but Shota defends him, allowing him to escape. Ryohei uses the equipment to try to remove the headphones he is wearing, but fails. He grabs pliers and attempts to cut the collar around his neck, but remembers the masked woman whose collar exploded, killing her. Afraid, he doesn't know what to do and starts crying. He hides, apologizing and recalling how his father and brother always looked down on him, considering him a burden. Shota prevents Sori from moving, telling her it doesn't matter who wins, but they can't let things end this way among them. Karube collapses from the bleeding wound in his abdomen, dropping the wedding ring and remembering his girlfriend's words about him being a kind person because he always helps his friends. Ryohei remembers the days when his friends meant everything to him, and they shared the best moments of their lives. He decides to leave the game and die because he can't bear to see his friends die because of him. He goes to find his friends, but they hide from him so that he can live. Ryohei realizes that his friends are sacrificing themselves for him, and he starts crying as he searches for them. Karube speaks to him through his headset, telling him that he forgets all the worries of his life when he's with him and Shota. He shares memories of their times together. Shota also talks about his memories with his friends, smiling as he tells Ryohei to keep living for their sake. With 30 seconds left, Suri is deeply moved and hugs Shota, deciding to sacrifice herself as well. The countdown ends, and everyone dies except for Ryohei, who watches his friend's head explode in front of him. He breaks down hysterically, unable to believe what just happened, screaming uncontrollably. Later, the mysterious girl hunts a rabbit, and on her way to the city, finds Ryohei lying on the asphalt in the middle of the street. She asks him if he still wants to live, but he is depressed and wants to die. She leaves him, telling him to do whatever he chooses. She cooks the rabbit and eats it. The next day, she returns to Ryohei and finds him still in the same place, resigned to death. She remembers her days with her father in the mountains. They were obsessed with mountain climbing all their lives together. One day, her father decided to climb a mountain alone, leaving her behind. The mountain had no oxygen, so he needed breathing equipment to climb it. But he disappeared, and no one knew if he died or where he might be. Even when mountaineers launched a search expedition, they couldn't find him. Ryohei regains consciousness and finds himself with the girl. He learns that she saved him from death. She gives him some of the food she cooked, and he asks her why she saved him. She tells him that his body shows he wants to live. However, Ryohei is depressed over the loss of his friends and struggles to forgive himself, thinking he caused their deaths. He doesn't know how to go on living and just wants to die. The girl tells him that she too once felt the same way and wanted to die, but she realized that death would come eventually. Until then, She decided to live and take care of herself. She tells him she cooked for him, so he should eat and do as she does. The girl goes running in the city to maintain her fitness, and when she returns, she finds Ryohei asleep after eating the food she gave him. She wakes him up and tells him that he must participate in a game to avoid dying when his visa expires. She tells him that on the first day of the union game, he tried to help all the participants and could have risked his life because he was a stranger. She says he did this because he didn't want to die, nor did he want others to die. She tells him he saved her life, and she wants to do the same for others, to repay the favor. At night, the two go to a tunnel to begin the game. They find a bus parked inside and board it, discovering 3 other participants and their phones. The 3 participants tell them that having friends in the game is a burden that makes things harder. A voice from the phones announces that the game level is Territory 4, and the game is called The Distance. The rule is to endure and reach their goal within the specified time while staying safe. The game begins, and they have 2 hours. None of the participants understand the game or its rules. They see the number 0 on their phones and realize they have to run. One of the 3 participants tries to drive the bus, but it has no fuel, leaving them no choice but to run on foot. One of the 3 has an injured leg, and his friends suggest moving on without him since he won't be able to survive. He insists on his decision, even though his friends don't want to leave him behind. The 4, along with Ryohei and the girl, start running. The number on the phones increases as they cover more distance, but no one knows how far they need to run. Along the way, they find bottles of water. When Ryohei tries to drink from one, the girl stops him and gives him a bottle of water she has. After Ryohei drinks, he shares the bottle with the others, thinking only of himself. They continue running and reach a dark area filled with cars. The girl senses danger and stops, but suddenly a panther appears and chases them. One of them hides under a car, while the panther pursues the others. They move between the cars, and the girl grabs a flare from one of the vehicles, lighting it to scare the panther away. The girl, Ryohei, and one of the participants continue running, but the panther attacks and kills the last participant. The 3 survivors run further, but the remaining participant says he doesn't want to live without his friends, who sacrifice themselves for him. Ryohei tells him he must live and share the story of his friends' sacrifices and the adventures that await him. The participant calms down and continues running with them. After some time, Ryohei spots a motorcycle on a transport truck. He recalls Shota's words about how electronic circuits in the area are destroyed, but electrical devices that run on wires without chips still work. This means the motorcycle in front of them can operate, as well as the bus with the injured participants since it's an older model. The 2 young men get on the truck to retrieve the motorcycle, which runs without batteries. The motorcycle's engine is diesel-powered, meaning it uses fuel, not gas. The bus also runs on fuel, giving them hope to rescue the injured participant. How vivo. Component placement. They need to move the motorcycle to the bus and return all the way back. Ryohei checks the remaining time and sees there's still an hour left. Enough time to accomplish this. He learns the girl's name is Usagi and tells her to go with the other participant to the goal while he goes back alone to the bus to save the injured one. He plans to use the bus to reach the goal quickly before time runs out, deciding not to let anyone sacrifice their life for him again. Ryohei sets off on the motorcycle toward the bus alone. Along the way, he sees the remains of the participant attacked by the panther but finds the panther dead as well, killed by the participant who stabbed it with a knife before dying. When Usagi and her companion reach the end of the tunnel, they find it blocked, marking the end of the road. They have no choice but to trust Ryohei and wait for him to return with the bus. Ryohei continues his journey, exhausted from pulling the motorcycle over the long distance. The injured participant sees Ryohei and can't believe someone came to save him. The participant looks at a picture of his wife as he waits for Ryohei. He tells Kasagi that his wife is pregnant and will give birth in the autumn. Kasagi reassures him that his wife is safe and that he shouldn't worry about her, and that he must return to her so their child won't be an orphan. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a gunshot, but it turns out to be a nail in the iron wall of the tunnel. It also turns out that behind the wall is almost a sea, so the 2 of them quickly escape before the water reaches them. The participant falls to the ground, and the water reaches him. Ryuhi is in the bus with the driver next to Kasagi, and he grabs her hand and pulls her into the bus at the last moment before the water reaches her. They lose consciousness, and when they wake up, they realize that the bus is overturned, but they are all fine. They notice the word target written on the bus, and it turns out that the bus was the target they needed to reach all along. The number on the phone was supposed to remain 0, And when they move away from the number, it increases. But they move away from their target. They receive a message on the phone congratulating them on their victory and that they succeeded in the game. The injured one moves and says that he doesn't know where he will end up, but he will stay alive and hopes to see them again. Ryuhei stands with Kasagi by the sea and tells her about the shore that Carrie mentioned to him before he died. Ryuhei decides to end the sadistic game happening in this world himself, and that he will live and leave this world from where he came. To achieve this, he must reach the shore. Ryuhei moves on a bicycle, and Kasagi rides behind him because she doesn't know how to ride bikes. Stay tuned for the summary of the second part to continue the events. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.